We got a bunch of things to show you. We want to keep some exciting things coming out there. I think we've been able to keep getting some interesting inventory on some stuff that's short, which is good. That should help some of our customers out. First off is Azalea Karen. You can see here how this crop's really looking. It's got a nice flush of growth. It's past its bloom on this particular crop, which is good. Some of our other crops, as they bloom, they kind of hang on to those flowers. They kind of hang in there as dead flowers for a while and then eventually grow out of it. But you can see here, this particular crop, which we have 1,000 of them, they're past that point. And hopefully by the time we're done with this, the other ones will look the same. They'll get rid of those dead flowers here over the next couple of weeks. So we got 1,000 ready to go. Next is green velvet. So this is our 5 gallon. So we're a bit limited on our 3s, but we just wanted to show you, this is the tall 5, just how fantastic these things look. Great sizing. I know you got some of them booked that you'll be sending out, but we have an additional 2,000 that are available. So we want to keep pushing this crop. You can see how much bigger it is from the pot. The sizing, it was trimmed a little while ago and it's starting to push out of that trim. So it's just perfect. So this plant can go, it's that right size, so it can go just about anywhere. It can go towards the garden center, wholesaler, whatever. It's what, Cheryl, wide? It's definitely over 15 inches. Yeah. Yeah, so it's got a good spread to it, good solid 15-inch plus on that. So see what you can do there. Grass are very limited. So we do have Carl Forster. This is a 2 gallon, 19 centimeters. We might run out next week.
No, we're still good.
You're still good? Okay.
Section over there.
Okay. So we're still okay there. So we'll have a 19 and a 2. Couple weeks away from 3 gallons, but they're progressing good, which is real good to see. But you can see here, really getting those nicer colors into it. Starting to send up some of those taller skate pieces to them. Really starting to look good. And the guy's done a real good job spraying for rust. So that's just a note. We're really coming into the period where a lot of these wide blade grass will get rust. So what does rust want? Rust loves temperature swings. It loves wet conditions. It loves cold nights. So guess what we're going to get over the next week? So we really got to be on our toes, pass that on to any of your customers that, they really got to spray for it. Rust is everywhere. It's in people's lawns. It's everywhere. So it is coming up to a prime time to explode. So keep your eyes peeled. We spray every 5 to 7 days here, depending on the weather. Obviously, coming up, we'll be spraying every 5 days as a preventative spray to keep it out. So just a note. Next, hydrangea limelight. So you can see here, look how great that crop looks. It really poured on, took advantage of that heat last week. I know you got quite a few booked. We're also able to get an additional 2,000 that are available right now. Limelight takes a little bit longer to set its flower bloom, so we're a little ways away from that. I would suspect here in about 2 weeks, we'll start to see the formation. We're not going to see any kind of bloom opening until the very end of June or end of July. So we're a ways away from that, but you can just see here the structure, the size. We've got leaves all the way down to the bottom. You can see there it's pushing upwards of 24 inches, and the whole group looks like that. So we should be good. We got more coming on behind it. I feel pretty good about having limelights all season. So keep selling. North Pole. So this is one we don't talk a lot about, but we got a real nice crop coming on. Cheryl's able to go ahead and get 250 on. We kind of like North Pole in the series. It's definitely a little bit tougher It doesn't want to split or fold apart like sometimes a Schmargard would or something like that. It does have a little bit more deer resistant to it, but I really find that deer will pretty much chew on anything if they give the opportunity, but it does list it as it has some resistance to deer. You know, nice 3-gallon package, proven winter plant, very tough one. It has good color. So definitely when you put this one against, it's a taller grower, but when you put it against like Green Giants still have kind of a little bit of that winter color to them right now. This thing turns on early, gets good color, and keeps that color all year. So that's also a nice feature with this one. Okay, Viburnum, Golden Sunset. We've showed you these before, but look how fantastic that thing looks now. It's, you know, they're loaded with flowers there opening up, you know, so it's definitely past the bud stage, starting into the bloom stage. This one will ship really well when it's in flower. Some things won't, but this one here will hold on to its flower real well. It should ship really well next week. Obviously, we don't have forever to ship them looking like this, so next week is really the time to get these out there, and they should look good for a couple of weeks, and then they'll start forming their berries. This one definitely will load up with berries. They don't last long. Birds love them. They'll seek them out. So as soon as that berry starts to change color later in the summer, the birds will get in there and strip them out. So, but that's great for wildlife. So you can enjoy the berries a little bit, but like I say, it just not going to be around too much for an ornamental feature, more for you know, natural habitat, things like that. But the flower is fantastic. It's got a great leaf. You know, it's got a big thick cutin on it, so it's waxy. It looks good. It definitely resists bacterial spotting and other things that a lot of the viburnums can get. So good choice for a viburnum. Winither is also one with a very, it's much more waxier, so it has a real waxy leaf. It too will also keep really good leaf color. It will also turn red in the fall, so it has a good fall red color, and because it has that thick wax, it will keep that leaf on for a long time, and it will look really good. You can see here it's just starting to bloom. Okay, it will also get a berry in there, so it too is also sought out by the birds. So you know, it's not like an Ilex verticillata where the berry would hang around for a long time. It's a softer berry that that wildlife are really attracted to. So, but they're just starting to bloom, so we got several more weeks of blooming to go here. So for these two viburnums, perfect time to get them out there. They're going to look great, give some interest at the garden center for the next several weeks. Wine and rose, this shouldn't be any surprise to anybody. Y'all know this plant. We also have spilled wine out there, but the wine and rose continue to look fantastic. They're blooming. They'll continue to bloom here for quite a while. We have 5,000 plus available. So, you know, just an excellent plant to continue to land out there. It's going to look good. It just brings a lot of interest to the garden center when other things are getting tired. Just this thing will keep looking great. So we have a couple of new ones is Night Glow, which we've had in a 3-gallon, but this one here is in a 2. That is a today photo in the center. You can see there from the photo Cheryl pulled off the internet, you know, to have a nice yellow flower that'll be coming on here soon, and you get that great contrast that'll be coming up. This is in that blue Bloomin' Easy pot. And we have a limited number of 300, but they're there for the taking. Next one is Hydrangea candelabra. This one too, we have had in limited numbers in a 3-gallon. We do have a 2-gallon here. You can see the today photo in the center. The plant looks great. It is going to be, you know, a true midsummer bloomer, so it's going to be a little bit longer before it sets to bloom. But you can see there, really good stiff branching, big flower head. You know, it will start out white and then turn into red and then be all red. Where sometimes I see some plants that, you know, sometimes they're pink and red and white. Now it's, you know, this one here, candelabra, when it turns, they all turn red. So that's kind of cool about this one. Another one, which we have not had, is Spirea Pop Rocks Petite. So Pop Rocks Petite, say that 10 times fast. There's 300 of these again. This one has alpina breeding in it. So if you're not familiar with that, alpinum is what it means. It's like grows in the mountains. So it is extremely tough. Back in the day, we used to grow alpinum, but some of the problems with alpinum is they didn't have really good heat tolerance, and they were also extremely slow growers. So they did a lot of breeding at Van Bell with this one and brought it on, and I really like it. We had it in some trial beds for several years. It does great. It handles the heat fine. It can really take the cold. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this plant couldn't handle zone 3. But definitely zone 4. So it's really pretty much a one-time bloomer. It's not a repeat bloomer. If you, like any other spirea, if you get in there and you aggressively trim it, you can get it to repeat bloom. But you can just see there in the center photo, it's just starting to form the little flowerets. So I would expect here in a couple weeks, it will be a blaze of color, and the bloom will last a very long time. You know, the bloom on this thing lasts almost 4 weeks, 5 weeks. It lasts a long time. So even though it's not a repeat bloomer, it will give you color. And then it also has a darker color foliage, kind of greens mixed with a little bit of burgundy. So great plant, great selection. We are bringing this online for the future for regular sales, but we did have this one. And then another one is Weigelia Stunner. This one here, we haven't really had. Stunner, I would say, is in between, you know, it's in between spilled wine and wine and rose. It's kind of an interesting plant. It kind of has kind of a twist in the leaf, which is kind of cool. Very dense, extremely dense foliage. And, you know, it will get kind of a pink flower approaching red. It won't be a deep red, but kind of a more pinkish flower. Great grower. It's very easy to grow. I like this one. This is probably one of the best growing Weigelia I've ever seen. I think homeowners would be extremely successful with this. We have planted it in a couple different situations, and it can really tolerate a wide range of soils. So this will be one that we'll be bringing on in regular production as well. But for right now, we have 300 there. Okay, fragrant viburnums. We got a couple to show you. Viburnum Jedi. You know, the crop's just coming on. Great looking crop, real nice fresh foliage. Be careful on the size. They are 15-inch, approaching 18. Make sure if they're going to a rewholesaler that you have the conversation on the size. A lot of rewholesalers want them around 24 inches. A lot of times when they get that big, they get a little ratty on the bottoms. But this one here is a nice fresh plant. We felt let's go ahead and get 250 and we'll start rolling them on. I think they'd be extremely happy with them. They're stiff in the pot. Very vigorous growth right now. They'll continue to grow quite a bit over the next couple of weeks, but we'll get you started with 250 there. And then Spice Island, which is, we've talked about this one before. This is a dwarf. Well, let's not call it a dwarf. It's a compact. It's a good grower, so it's not like a slow grower, but it's a good grower. But it stays very compact. It's not going to get high. You know, we're past the bloom times on fragrant viburnums, so what we're going to get is a lot of new foliage. You can see here how much foliage has come on this thing since we showed you here a couple weeks ago. We got 350 with another 1,000 or so that'll be rolling on pretty soon. So we're starting to get back into that. We also have Spice Girl out there, which is a proven winner. That's a different, a completely other end of the spectrum. It's a big, more traditional fragrant viburnum, but we really like that one too because it has excellent branching, excellent form, very adaptable, much better than some of the older Carlisi, the standard Carlisi that are out there. Okay, last slide. So we have to have a discussion. So this is I had to go back in time and get a good one because I wanted Godzilla from like the late 1960s. New Godzilla, he's no good. The old Godzilla, it looked like a guy in a rubber suit. That's Godzilla. So it's Godzilla versus the giant dreaded boxwood tree moth. So there is a lot of information out there. So the picture there is of the caterpillar stage. So there's all kinds of different stages. I'm not going to get into it, but it really does a lot of damage in the caterpillar stage. And then to the other side of it, on the other side of Godzilla, is the male and female moth. So moth flies around. The moth really doesn't do anything. The moth does no damage other than it flies around, finds another host, and it can lay eggs, and then the eggs come out, and then the caterpillar gets out there and can literally strip and kill a boxwood overnight. They're very aggressive feeders. Moths will lay for a period of about 4 weeks. They don't last very long. They only live for about 4 weeks, but during that 4-week time, they lay almost every minute of every day. And they go around to different leaves and they lay anywhere from 6 to 12 eggs and go to another leaf and lay again. And that's all they are. They're just breeding factories. It is extremely easy to kill this caterpillar. You can kill it with horticulture oils. You can kill it with probably coffee grinds. I mean, you can, there's even people saying that you can spray them off the plant with a strong blast of water. It really has a difficult time to get back up on the plant and it'll die on the ground. So the trick is you have to catch it because they're voracious feeders and they can literally strip a boxwood hedge just in days. So they seem to have 2 to 3 generations, so that makes it a little more difficult. So they'll come out and pupate three different times throughout the year. So this caterpillar is going to turn into a chrysalis and then a moth, and then the moth will lay, and then another generation, then it'll do it again. So it'll have multiple generations within a year. So this insect originated from Asia, then got into Europe. It's really bad up in Europe, all through there. And then our partners in the north, Canada, wound up getting it in from Europe. So they have been monitoring this thing for a couple of years now. And just recently, it has cropped up into the United States. So let's start talking about facts. So facts are that we just talked to ODA and USDA, that I have some friends there, and also their heads, their bosses. There are 7 states. One of them is Ohio, where this insect has just been found. They did back tracing. They all came from Canada. A couple of them were B&B products. Some of it was containers. Even though it's a box tree moth or boxwood, it also has 2 significant alternate hosts. One of them is Manservia holly, and the other one is Euonymus. So if you think about the leaf, how it is, they're very similar in texture, in growth. Now we're talking about the emerald and gold type Euonymus, not really the burning bush type Euonymus, but they are not making that distinction at this time. So they're throwing all Euonymus under the bus, they're throwing all Manservia holly under the bus, and all boxwood. From the European studies, there is no boxwood, not one boxwood out there that has resistance to this insect. So if you hear somebody telling you it has, it doesn't, there's no scientific evidence to support that. Currently, right now, Canada can ship boxwood into the United States by obtaining a phytosanitary certificate. So we do use these occasionally when we ship to Canada, or like we ship to other states like Colorado or something like that. But the problem is right now is that the word's out on the street, everybody's rushing to get their boxwood out of Canada. And think about this, if you have a truck and you're a nursery in Canada and you got like 6 stops on the truck or whatever you got, every single one of those that has boxwood has to be inspected by an inspector physically. They have to hand write out the certification, and you got to pay the $30. That's for every single order and every single variety on that truck. So they are totally overwhelmed. They're also not very willing to do it because they know it's been found, and they don't want to be the inspector that gets blamed for not catching the blight. So we're hearing that inspectors are basically not even showing up to the Canadian nurseries. So they can get it, but the likelihood of getting it is not very good. What the USDA APHIS inspection agency is doing is they're drafting the language currently. I would say probably within 2 weeks, you won't even be able to do it that way. They will totally block those 3 varieties from coming from Canada to the United States. So for a short period of time, they could ship with a phytosanitary. Chances are 0 that they'd actually get it done. And then within a couple of weeks, you won't be able to ship it at all. So those are the facts as I know them. Right now, there are no restrictions to ship boxwood and no intention to restrict boxwood shipping within states in the United States. And we can also ship into Canada, but we have to get a phytosanitary on boxwood going to Canada because of boxwood blight. So what a tangled web we weave. So anyways, that's what I know. I believe there are 15 sites where they've identified it, all of it coming from Canada. 2 are in Ohio. All of those plants are being destroyed as we speak, plus anything else that came on the load. So if they got a mixed load of stuff, they're destroying all of them. And that's how USDA is handling it right now. All the states along the border have just received new traps. So there's these handy dandy new pheromone type traps that have a pheromone in them, so USDA can start monitoring. So we have a couple here around the nursery, like in the woods edge and stuff, that we said it was okay to put some monitoring stations. So right now, we don't believe we have any risk of having it. We feel good about that. That's where we are. So that's all the facts I know. I know it's a little confusing. You know, the reason I put Godzilla in there was because of the hysteria out there. But we're good here in the United States. We can ship anywhere we want. We can ship anytime we want. We don't have to do anything extra. There are no restrictions, nothing other than any restrictions we would have had with boxwood blight. So you may be getting people contacting you saying, can I get boxwood from you because I can't get them from Canada?